All right, Exclusive Ace has finally had that interview with Olsen, and there's a few things that we learned about skill-based matchmaking and matchmaking altogether. I divided them into 5 categories, and they are as follows: player skill rating, lobby formation, connection, ping considerations, reverse boofing, smurfing, and effects on gameplay, and pretty much anything else in between. And the best explanation of everyone's problems with skill-based matchmaking, one, it sounds like it needs to be a necessity. Now, maybe I'm an older Call of Duty where skill-based matchmaking wasn't really a thing, but now Call of Duty's bigger than ever. They want to retain that player base as much as possible. Maybe it's bigger than what it was in years prior. It just seems to have a larger and more widespread cultural impact than it ever has before in my life. And these collaborations with these big companies, I mean, like, they got NBA players and rappers and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff like that, kind of like what Fortnite's doing in Call of Duty now. But it seems to be, if you're an average player or around the average rank, not the top 1%, not the bottom 1%, but if you're like in the middle between 50 and 50, right, it seems like it's going to be the most volatile, which makes sense. Like in a stock market race, the stocks that do really, really well are going to keep soaring. The stocks that do really, really well, they're going to plummet. But stocks that kind of do okay will do really, really well, and then do really, really, they're very volatile. So I understand why there's certain issues, and Olsen does address these issues in the interview about how volatile the skill-based matchmaking is for an average and avid player who isn't like top 1% or 5%. But let's get into this. Guys, let's start this one off. We're almost at 150 subscribers on our way, I almost said road. We're on the road to 200 subscribers, on our way up to 1,000. Trying to hit that big 1K, 4 digits, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely awesome. So if you have not already, subscribe. It helps me out a ton. Let's start off with number 1, player skill rating. We've talked about this before: the skill-based matchmaking, the player skill, the skill score. If you're the AI-based matchmaking, it's just a little bit a way to help tweak the algorithm, is what he explains. But the player skill rating, each player has an invisible skill rating based on various factors, including, if not limited to, kill-death ratio. Higher KD players tend to face tougher opponents. Score per minute, your SBMM, right, measures how efficiently a player earns points. And then your win-loss ratio. Some versions of SBMM factor in whether a player consistently wins or loses. Now, I am a consistent winner. I always stay winning, 100% champion through and through. Nobody comes to the Father but by me types, you know what I'm saying? And then recent match performance. Now you guys know exactly what this is. You're going to drop a nuke. You're going to drop this. Well, the next game, you're going to be playing in the Olympics, buddy. You're going to be trying out for the United States Olympic Call of Duty team. If you will. Now, recent match performance, if you perform exceptionally well in a few games, you may get placed in tougher lobbies. The last one here for player skill rating is accuracy and movement. I had no idea that this was even in the game, but it was brought to light during this interview. The game will track how precise and mobile you are. Sliding, jumping, crouching, anything. How well your aim is, how often your accuracy hit, how often your shots will hit, how often you will be on target when scoping in, and pretty much laying it down on the microphone. You know what I'm saying? It will track everything, and that also goes into your player skill rating, which brings me in to number 2 directly, right? Lobby formation. Now, the system prioritizes matching you with players of similar skill within the region. If no close matches are found quickly, it may expand the search to include players slightly above or below your skill level. If matchmaking takes too long, it may loosen all restrictions, prioritizing connection over skill balance. And it's very interesting to see this, because if you rock a VPN, you will most always get that third bracket, and there are a lot more bad players than there are good players. It's just the kind of thing that happens. There will always be more bad players than there are good players, just like how there'll always be, I hate to put this in economic terms, but there'll always be more poor people than rich people, right? There's way more casual players than CDL pros, is the best way I can explain that. And if you're using a VPN, you are probably going to get an expanded search. What's an expanded search? More options to meet more players. 9 times out of 10, more options to meet more players. You may run into some guy that's cracked out, but 9 times out of 10, you'll also be connected with 3 or 4 people who are just complete schlubs, Johnny No Thumbs on the controller. Moving on to our third point, connection and ping consideration. This kind of comes in with the lobby thing, but I wanted to make it its own separate thing. SBMM does not completely ignore connection quality. However, it can tend to push the boundaries of it, if you will. The system typically tries to balance skill and low latency, which is good ping, for a smooth gaming experience. However, if skill-based filters are too strict, players may end up in high latency matches. packet loss, a whole bunch of other things. We saw this with Warzone, and I wanted to make that its own third point because it seems to be its own priority. I mean, matchmaking itself could be expanded, but I really wanted to expand on the matchmaking and why it takes so long sometimes. So that's connection and ping considerations. Now 4, it's kind of there, not too much. They touched on this briefly, but it was reverse boosting and smurfing. I don't know if you guys know what reverse boosting is. It's when you try yourself. Oh, excuse me. I probably shouldn't say that on YouTube. You would just go end your player's life in game over and over and over again. You know, jumping off of platforms and stuff. Trick shotters are getting hit with this in Advanced Warfare for reverse boosting, but some players intentionally lower their skill rating by performing poorly on purpose. Example, dying repeatedly without fighting back. This is known as reverse boosting, and it allows them to enter easier lobbies. Smurfing, using a secondary account to face lower ranked players, is another common walk around. Now, I used to do this all the time in Call of Duty 4. You'd have the one Xbox account your buddy might pay for, invite them into the lobby, make them the leader. You join these crazy lobbies in Call of Duty for these crazy people with like level 2. They might have just got the game for Christmas, Smurf, you know what I'm saying? You always have that one friend who's like the worst that you always make the party leader. You Smurf on them, especially when you're running a 6-man. Absolutely amazing. Everybody did this. Everybody, it's like using the game to your advantage, if you will. But I understand it kind of goes against the code of ethics here in Call of Duty. They don't want you to do, or code of conduct. They don't want you to do this. I understand. So technically, that could be a rule breaker. But you know, who hasn't downloaded illegal music in their life? We've all broken laws. You know what I'm saying? Number 5, we're getting into the last 2 points here. But number 5, the effects on gameplay. Now, casual play feels very, very sweaty in Black Ops 6. Since matches are balanced, every game can feel very highly competitive, even in public lobbies, and this is an issue that they want to address. How do we balance the good player experience for the players that pretty much have no thumbs, no aim, and no skill, that are logging on once a week, and the avid players who put in the time to reap the benefits of what they sow? Those guys, there's a lot fewer of them than there are the casual guys that come in, because they just come in tens of thousands and droves of waves, and they only may play for like a month or two, right? The other guys are going to play all year like me. But how do you balance catering to that crowd versus the guy that's putting in all this time and spending money on the game? I know you want to maximize your monetization revenue, but you also want to have a casual experience. I mean, it almost seems like they're catering to a way of having players not effectively play the game, but just buy bundles, which is kind of sad. It's harder for new players, newer or lower skill players. They can struggle if they get matched against experienced players using alternate accounts. However, lobby resets each match now may take care of that. Unlike older Call of Duty games where lobbies stay together, modern SBMM often reshuffles teams after each game to maintain balance. And this is one of the issues they're trying to get to effect on gameplay, trying to fix this issue. As I said, it's very volatile. I have an alternate account on Xbox, and I'm getting into crazy good lobbies, right? I'm making great videos on that. We just watched me play Black Ops 2, where I played the absolute free-for-all Olympics, baby. It was absolutely insane. Now, does skill-based matchmaking exist in every Call of Duty? Yes and no. While Call of Duty developers rarely confirm exact SBMM details, it has been widely observed in recent titles such as Modern Warfare 2019, Cold War Vanguard, MW2, MW3, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. However, older games like Call of Duty 4 or Black Ops 2 have more relaxed matchmaking prioritization connection over skill, right? But it was still there. Now, SBMM remains one of the most debated topics in Call of Duty, with many players advocating for a ranked playlist for competitive matchmaking while keeping public lobbies more connection-based like in older titles. Do you guys think skill-based matchmaking has improved or worsened Call of Duty over time? Not that skill-based matchmaking improved or got worse. I'm talking about, did it make Call of Duty worse over time or better? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you all in the next one. Subscribe if you are brand new. It's been your boy Horizon, and I am out of here.
We'll shine like glitter in the night. Ooh, yeah. Burning bright, we'll light up the sky. Ooh, yeah. We'll dance until the morning.